The hospital was old, older than most of the city around it. Foundation had been laid nearly a century ago, and though new wings had been added over time, the original building remained intact long. Narrow corridors with peeling paint, cracked tiles, and fluorescent lights that buzzed faintly overhead. It was here, in the East Wing, that Nurse Daniel Hayes first began noticing the disappearances. He had worked night shifts for years, growing accustomed to the strangeness that came with them, the patients muttering half-coherent things at 3 in the morning. The staff too exhausted to question shadows in their peripheral vision. The silence so deep that even the hum of the machines felt oppressive. But the East Wing had always been different. Its corridors stretched longer than they should have, bending in ways that defied the floor plan. Staff avoided it when they could. Patients assigned to its rooms often requested transfers within days, complaining of constant whispers of dreams that felt too real. Daniel, pragmatic and skeptical, ignored the rumors, until the night he saw a patient walk into that corridor and never come back. It was a routine check. A man in his 60s had been admitted with dehydration, disoriented but otherwise stable. Daniel watched him shuffle out of bed, muttering to himself, and wander down the hall. Daniel followed seconds later. The corridor was empty. Every door was locked, every room vacant, yet the man was gone. He searched the entire wing that night, enlisted security, even checked the exits. Nothing. By morning, the patient was written off as another runaway, someone who slipped out of the hospital unnoticed. But Daniel knew he hadn't left. He had walked into the corridor, and then he was simply gone. After that, Daniel began paying closer attention. He noticed the strange way the lights in that wing flickered, how the clock on his watch always seemed wrong when he entered it. He began keeping a journal, documenting every strange occurrence. Patients who muttered about being followed by someone they couldn't see. The faint sound of footsteps behind him when the corridor was empty. The way the air grew colder, heavier, as though pressing him forward against his will. It became an obsession. Daniel stayed long after his shifts ended, wandering the East Wing, tracing its impossible length. Sometimes it stretched longer than it should have, the end receding further no matter how far he walked. Sometimes doors appeared where none had been before, doors that vanished when he turned his head. He stopped telling colleagues about his findings after they laughed, or worse, began looking at him with pity. Then the staff themselves began to vanish. An orderly was last seen pushing a cart down the East Wing. A nurse on a late round was never found again. The hospital administration blamed burnout, claimed the missing had abandoned their posts. But Daniel knew. He had watched the security footage grainy, static-filled tapes that showed figures walking into the corridor, only to flicker out of existence halfway through. He had tried to quit. He told himself he was finished, that he would leave the hospital, the wing, the city if he had to. But the corridor haunted his sleep. He dreamt of walking down its endless stretch, doors on either side whispering his name. He woke drenched in sweat, certain that something was waiting for him at the end. The final entry in his journal was dated 3 days before he vanished. His handwriting was frantic, letters jagged and uneven. It isn't a corridor, it's something else. A mouth, a tunnel. It takes what it wants. The patients knew, the staff know. We're not supposed to be here, I think. I think it's calling me now. When I close my eyes, I'm already inside. Daniel never showed up for his next shift. His apartment was found empty, his belongings untouched. In his closet, his journal lay on the floor, its final page half torn, as though ripped away in a hurry. Security cameras captured him walking into the East Wing around 2:13 a.m. The footage cut to static for 37 seconds. When it cleared, the corridor was empty. He was never seen again. The hospital quietly sealed off the East Wing months later, citing renovations. But those who still work night shifts whisper about hearing footsteps beyond the barricades, about the lights flickering when no one is near. Some claim that if you stand near the sealed door long enough, you can hear breathing from the other side. No official explanation was ever given. No bodies were found. Disappearances remain unsolved. And the corridor waits, patient, endless, ready to open again for the next person who dares to walk down it.